Are we born sinners? No, we are born innocent. We are all born into a world where sin exists. Some physical sin is forced on us because of the environment or by other people, but otherwise, sin is a choice we make. If you choose to do dying things, you sin and you will die. Why do some cultures practice female genital mutilation? It's because of the devil's influence. God made sexual pleasure so we could enjoy making babies, especially in a woman. A woman has more pleasure in sex than a man. That makes up for the pain she suffers in childbearing. The devil wants to take that away from women and inspires people to think that pleasure is sin and must be destroyed. Personally, my pleasure comes from pleasuring women, and there's no sin in that. What is unrepentance? What does it mean to be unrepentant? Unrepentance means that after you have repented, you undo it and begin to sin again. Unrepentant means that you have never repented. What is sadism, and what is a sadist? Sadism is when one seeks to obtain pleasure from the suffering of others, which sometimes involves sex. A sexual sadist is someone who tortures another person while living out a sexual fantasy. What is spiritual sickness? What does it mean to be spiritually sick? Being spiritually sick means that there is something wrong in your spirit that needs to be corrected. Guilt is a symptom of spiritual sickness. Where does sin come from? Sin is the natural consequence of the broken law. Because there are certain unchangeable laws, there is positive and negative behavior. Sin is just another name for negative behavior. What is trespass in the Bible? We all have rights. When we violate another person's rights, we trespass. Jesus taught us to forgive the trespasses of others, which means we should forgive those who violate our rights. What does it mean that sin is lawlessness? Sin happens when a law is broken. Sinning is lawlessness, which means that a person is breaking the law as if there was no law. Is corporate confession of sin biblical? I looked it up, and there are some examples of where bodies of people have come together and confessed their sins. Is ignorance an adequate excuse for sin? Ignorance of sin will keep a person out of hell, but it does not relieve a person of the consequences of sin. If all you're concerned about is staying out of hell, then stay ignorant. But if you want eternal life, you have to learn the laws of eternal life and put them into practice. Nobody gains eternal life being ignorant. What is imputed sin? This is the notion that Adam's sin has been put on our account of sin. This is a false notion. There is no account of sin. Sin is not like a debt that has to be paid. Sin is more like an injury that has to be healed. What is an abomination? An abomination is something that causes disgust or hatred. Like the great and abominable church is the biggest and most disgusting church that has ever been, and the most contrary to God. What is concupiscence in the Bible? This refers to excessive or out of control sexual desire associated with lust. What does the Bible say about vandalism? Vandalism is a modern term that comes from the history of the Vandals, a group of people who sacked and destroyed Rome but did not take over the city. So anybody that steals and destroys someone else's property is called a vandal, and acts of defacing or destroying someone else's property is vandalism. It is not mentioned in the Bible.